Speak No Evil is a brand new film directed by James Watkins and starring James McAvoy. This is a remake of the 2022 Danish horror film of the same name. And my biggest question going in had to be, is this movie going to be as good as that movie? That's what we're going to be talking about today. This is my spoiler-free review of Speak No Evil. So smash like, hit subscribe, and let's dive in. Okay, so Speak No Evil 2024. You might hear me do that just to kind of separate the two here. A family is invited to spend a weekend in an idyllic country house, unaware that their dream vacation will soon become a psychological nightmare. And man, so just to start, and like I mentioned, this film is a remake of the 2022 Danish film Speak No Evil, and there's kind of a common misconception with that film that the entire thing's in Dutch, or people are kind of staying away from it because they think it's going to be subtitles the entire time, but most of the movie is actually in English. And so that's a reason right there. When I heard that they were remaking this film, I was like, wait, why? I feel like that movie literally just came out, and as much as I had heard about it, I actually hadn't seen the original up until a few days ago. I went ahead and turned it on, and what I saw shocked me to my freaking core. That movie is one of the most terrifying films that I've seen in some time. I'd compare it to the same type of feeling that I got with The Strangers when I first watched The Strangers. And so going into this, I was actually kind of stoked because I was like, even if it is a cardboard cutout, just like beat for beat, at least I get to see James McAvoy do in this what I just saw in that. And I have now seen the film. You may have seen my my out of theater reaction. And although I do think that this is a good movie in a critical sense, it really wasn't for me. Just as far as meeting my expectations. This film takes a gut-wrenching story, and in an attempt to make itself unique and kind of separate itself from the original, it falls into the trap of becoming just another cliche, run-of-the-mill horror film. It did nothing to stamp itself as a worthy remake, if that makes sense. Like, what's the point of remaking something so quickly if you're not gonna blow our expectations out of the water, you know what I mean? But, I'm telling you this right now, this is gonna be the tale of two different audiences. Because although I expect a lot of people possibly to feel like me, I feel like if you haven't seen the original, this will probably be a really great time at the theater. I don't expect for it to be a fan favorite of the year, but maybe for you. I actually envy anyone who's able to go into this thing blind, because you're gonna get the experience that I think the creators are going for. A retelling of a sort of under-the-radar horror film restructured to make things a bit more palatable for the audience. And there's one thing that nobody can deny after watching this film. James McAvoy is an absolute beast. He's phenomenal in this movie. Now, I don't know if it's gonna make me want to go back and rewatch the film. I don't know if it's something that good, but I am excited for the future TikTok clip era that this movie is gonna have with all of his different faces and emotions that he has. But he was really it for me. None of the characters in this film were more compelling than they were in the original. And this script felt so rushed where I never quite felt any sort of attachment to anybody. A ton of what drives this story, like the core story, the original story, is male envy, and this man who is keeping so much inside, and he just wants to escape, but in doing so, he puts his family in jeopardy by being blind to the decisions he's making for them because he's obsessing about what he wants and what he needs, and I just didn't get much of that here. And I know this is its own thing, I know that, but that core idea is what drew me in so much to the 2022 version, and this one shines a light instead on both the husband and the wife. And although I admire them for trying to do that, the lack of time made it so neither one of them shined. Neither family shined. The kids were just fine. And the landscapes and the sets were beautiful, but what is this movie really trying to do? Is it just trying to be a copy with a twist? Okay, well, if that's the case, I guess I'm alright with that, but I'm a little bit confused. I wanted some real meat on the bones here, and not just because Luis is a vegetarian, by the way. What this film is really hinging on is a third act. And if you've seen the original, this decides to take it in a completely new direction. And whereas that might be very refreshing, they decided to take it in a very predictable direction. This is a movie that's very comedic from start to finish, with a lot of laughs and action, but I struggled laughing because at its core, there is such a sinister story being told, and it's wasted by this need to have funny one-liners every minute or two. Personally, that wasn't the type of horror that I was looking for from this movie. I already have Scream, I already have Ready or Not. I wanted this to be bold, man. Take some swings. This movie is so reliant on McAvoy being amazing, which in all fairness, he is, that it fails to sort of capture the spirit of a story that could be, if done in a different way, as we've seen, very bone-chilling, and very much a psychological film that people might remember, as opposed to just one of the other horror movies that came out this year. So yeah, all in all, Speak No Evil, it's not quite what I wanted. I do think that a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun in this movie, and I think people are going to be raving about James McAvoy. Personally, it just wasn't quite my vibe, but as always, I do have to give my Jones Vibe star rating. I'm going to give Speak No Evil 2024 3 out of 5 stars, no doubt. But what did you think of Speak No Evil? Please head down in the comments. Let me know what you've thought if you've seen this movie. Have you seen the original movie? Let me know your thoughts on that. And also, if you haven't seen this movie, are you gonna go see it? Let me know all of that down below. Also, make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, and keep up the good vibes, my friends. Peace!